Alright, so the final 3 books came in. And before I forget to mention it, because I did forget last video, and it was something that happened in general. It was like, I want to say like 3 or 4 times. It was getting really annoying. But thankfully, after the first time, I was like, yeah, this can't actually happen. Is that I almost had a delay on these packages, because the 2 inches of snow we got, they were like, oh, this is gonna make me a delay. And they always said potentially, which is nice. So you always had that part of you that was like, okay, it's not USPS being a bunch of wusses. It's just they could be more, and they're anticipating it could be more. Potentially, even though they know it's only 2 inches, anything can happen, yada yada yada. So they say, hey, there may be a delay with your package, God forbid. But there was not. None of those times was there an actual delay. It was like the next morning I wake up, check out the USPS website and tracking information website, and lo and behold, it said we're at the next facility, so no more potential delay, whatever. But 3 more books, which that means I did go over 13. It's kind of funny because it was 16 total. Technically, it was 12 because they really should not count 0 as a comic. But still items, it was 13. But next up we have Family Tree Volume 1. So I did actually review this series fairly recently, and when I did, when I talked about the series, I showed that I had the first 6 issues in floppies, and then the last 6 issues were in the last 2 trades. Now, the second trade collects 1 through 4, and it's 4 issues per volume, for 3 volumes, 12 issues total. So doing the math, that means that, yes, volume 2 is 5 through 8. So I read half of it in floppies, and then the latter half in that trade, and the next trade for volume 3 is all 3. If you want to know the specifics. Written by Jeff Lemire, artwork done by Phil Hester, Eric Gapster, and Brian Cody. It doesn't say who's the colorist, who does the art, like artists or whatever. It just tells you the 3 artists. Now this one was really damn good. I absolutely adored this comic. I've read it twice now, and I would almost say the second time was better than the first. Because I think it was like I had a few flaws that held me back from like really enjoying it. I think it's because I started this series because I had the first 6 issues in floppies. And then I was one of those. I didn't mind reading issue 1, even though I knew there was more. I didn't mind it because I didn't know there's more issues. Now, like, I read issue 1 when issue 2 wasn't out yet, or whatever. But it was always that first issue, and I always like reread it. And then I think I stopped after a while because I was like, you know what, let's get the rest of the series first. And then it took me a while because the comic shop only had first 6 issues, never had 7 through 12. And if they did, it was 10 through 12. So I was always missing issues 7 through 9. And that's honestly how it was for the longest time, getting floppies at my local comic shop. I do like my local comic shop. If it were to go out of business, I would feel bad because not only have I been doing Amazon and third-party sellers off Amazon for forever now, but also it's a good store in general. But anyways, it's 1 through 4 is collected in here. I would say with the comic books, it is Newbury Comics. I've mentioned it before. I would say exactly where it is, but I still don't feel comfortable doing that, even though I made it pretty obvious where I live sometimes. If you do the math, and it's like Easter eggs in the Marvel movies. You have to like look. It's like sometimes they're just visuals, and you have to like really like look closely and pause. Like you will know, like at least the state that I live in, because I made it pretty obvious over the years. So there you go, guys. You want to know the state that I live in? There's your ticket. I did just show artwork. I know I just did, but you know what? Let's do it again. Specifically, this one is called Family Tree Volume 1. Sapling, right? Yep, Sapling. Collecting 1 through 4 of Family Tree. And this was from a third-party seller called Gulf, like Gulf of Mexico, which is now Gulf of America. And every so often, they'll have this little barcode in the back. And it's in that, like, really, really, I don't want to say adhesive, but the sticker that they use, whatever they use to stick it on the book, is like that really, really like sticky sticker where you can't even take it off because it's like glue almost, like super glue. It's almost like it's almost like this, where it's not stickered on, but it's like permanent. Like, it's almost like that, where it's permanent. You can't take it off. But anyways, moving on to the next book, and this was definitely the one that I was the most excited for, and I'm happy to say that. And it's actually, ironically enough, this one and the next one were the ones, because they're both in the same package, that I was, that was one of the ones that said, oh, it might be delayed. In fact, this one, for whatever reason, it didn't even say it would be delayed, but it was delayed a day for no reason. It was at the facility that I know, like, okay, next day I'm getting it, and it was at, like, for whatever reason, I had to go to 3 before I went to mine, including mine. I had to go to 3, so I had to go 2 before I went to mine, the one that in the post office. And for whatever reason, I think it was even at the no, that's what it was. It was at the third to last, and I was like, okay, so I'm getting it tomorrow. No, we have to go to the next one. It was a really weird thing that I had to do, but I wasn't. I was fine with it because it meant that Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday I got at least one book per day. One package per day, so it's kind of nice to know that. It's like, okay. Next one up is Henshin by Ken Niimura. And this one and the next one were the ones that got delayed today. And of course, it was the ones that were the last ones I'd be getting for this set of books. It's like, cool, last few books, and it gotta get delayed. But thankfully, it did not. Now, this one is from a third-party seller called Thrift Books, and this is used like new. And there's a really big, actually you can see it, like it kind of does affect the overall quality of the book itself, but there's a bunch here, like someone kind of squeezing it, you can see it right there. Now that's fine. In fact, when I brought the book up myself, I was walking up the driveway, and I feel, it really is kind of bad, and I felt it, and I was like, uh-oh, what's this? Is there a tear or whatever? Because I couldn't tell exactly what it was. So to be fair, I am glad it's not a tear, but still a pretty bad blemish. And of course, I'm playing with it. But it does not affect the book itself. Like, you open up the book, and you can't tell it has anything wrong with it whatsoever. And I will show the artwork, and this one is very interesting because, it's like a manga, where it's backwards. And that's what they're going for. And in fact, this was translated in English for the first time. This trade was, which I found to be really cool. And they can actually get the original the book in its original language if you do mass market paperback, that version. Not by Image, though, so you want it to be by Image. And if you're OCD like me, it's technically originally from Image Comics, then you'll have to deal with the English version. But Henshin, written and drawn by Ken Niimura. Now, this one was just one that I had seen. I was web surfing the other about a month ago, and I just come across this one. And I was like, oh, I don't have that one yet, so let's put that one in for next month. And I did, and lo and behold, I have it right now. I don't know why I said it like that. I don't know why I said it so awkwardly. But yeah, Thrift Books I didn't really like. They're the ones that gave me a voice in the dark, and it was not exactly used very good. It was more like used good. And this one, honestly, I would expect if I got a copy that was used very good, I'd be like, oh, this is why it's used very good. It has this blemish here. So, technically speaking, but whatever, because you can't really tell. Even like opening up the actual flap and not the book itself. Okay, this is the flap. You can't really tell if there's anything wrong with it, which is good. But I always just am paranoid that when I'm reading the book, that this is going to affect the binding of the book, so it'll fall apart quicker than it would if it didn't have that blemish on it. And this one is an OGN. I don't think, I'm going to double check, but I don't think it collects issues of a book. I think it's just an OGN. Yep, I'm right. But there you go. First manga that I own. Because, again, manga I'm not, too crazy about in general. So yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. It is like a manga where it's backwards. So this is what I mean by backwards. This one goes this way, and that one goes the other way. I guess you could technically say inverted. Then last but not least, we have We have Hazed, written by Mark Sable, with artwork by Robbie Rodriguez. Now, if you remember from part 1, you'll remember that I said this book got a 1.9 on Goodreads. I'm a completist, so I need everything left that was written by not Ken Namira. That was written by Mark Sable. So I was like, whatever, doesn't really matter to me. I'm still gonna get this book, but sometimes it is kind of nice to know that it's kind of nice to know. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I don't mind. Sometimes I don't mind owning a book that has such low reviews. I'm kind of. It's like if anything, it's more of an enticement for me to actually get it. You know, it's more enticing for me to get a book that got terrible reviews, everyone hates, than for me to get something that everyone likes. Now, am I gonna get this instead of something that's really popular like Saga? No, I'm not gonna pass this up for Saga. I'm not gonna pass this Saga up for this. But it was just what I wanted, and I was like, you know what, let's get it anyways. And I was not expecting to be this small. I think it's the size of. I don't think it's as small as Long Hot Summer, although it could be. But without further ado, and because I want to get on my next video, because the next video I'm filming this back to back with complete January haul, and it's now.